Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation continues from Suhi Mahalla Pehla, composition of the first Nanak. The sabad first, verse by verse, and then the discussion around it. Suhi Mahalla Pehla, Jogi Hovai Jogvai, Jogi Hovai Khai, Tapiya Hove Tap Kare, Tirath Mal Mal Nai. That's the first verse, which says if one becomes a yogi or a jogi, one performs yoga. If one becomes a pogi, meaning a householder, then one consumes what the world has to offer. And if one becomes an ascetic, a tapiya, one performs austerities. And at the pilgrimage, one rubs and rubs the body and bathes, mal nai. So Babaji is essentially classifying religious activity, identities, a yogi, a pogi, and a tapi, and so on. And they are all acting the way that they see themselves. And then comes Rahau. Tera sadada suni jai pai, je ko bahe alai rahau. O beloved, let your sadada be heard. If there is one who will settle within and allow the sadada to be heard. Sadada simply means calling. So you see, the interesting thing here is that having identified different religious practices, different identities, the Rahau switches to Sadara, which is not another practice. It is simply the divine call as a summons. If only one could sit bahe alai, that is to say, become inwardly settled and allow the sabad to be voiced. And then the second verse, Jaisa bijay so lune, jo khatte so khai, agge puch na hovai, je sun nisane jai. As one sows, so one reaps. What one earns, that one eats. And ahead, there is no reckoning if one goes bearing the nisan. The nisan, literally the seal, the mark, the warrant. So human life becomes the harvest. We are simply harvesting what we are doing. But the Guru says, if one goes forward with the inner mark, the nisan, which is here a reference to the sabad as we shall see, there is no reckoning, because the nisan is not an outer badge. It is the seal left by the sabad when we settle and hear it. Taiso jaisa kandiye, jaisa kar kamai, so dam chit jo dam chit nayavai, so dam birtha jai. One is reckoned according to what one has become. Taiso jaisa kandiye, according to the actions that we have performed. And the Guru cautions us. He says, Jo dam chittana avai, dam, breath. Any breath where awareness of that divine is not present, that breath is in vain. So the measure of a person is not any claimed identity, but awakening, chitta. The concluding verse, Eh tan vechi bhai kari je ko lay vikay, Nanak kam na avai jit tan nahi sacha now. I would sell this body. I would put it into an exchange if there were someone who would take it as sold. But no, Nanak says, the body is of no use until and unless the wisdom of the Naam has come to dwell within it. Bhai, here bhai means price, selling, bargain, and exchange. So you see, the very first verse, it may appear like a simple list. The jogi does jog, the pogi enjoys, the pilgrim bathes, but Babaji is doing something, he's doing something much deeper. What he's showing us is that identity produces behavior. Whatever we take ourselves to be, we begin to perform that. So if I call myself a yogi, I perform yoga. If I'm a pogi, a householder, then I consume. If I'm a tapi, I practice austerities, and so on. What Guruji is setting us up for is to ask the question, do any one of these really reach their center? Are they addressing, these are all outward activities. You see, these are all practices that are done outside. Does any one of these, he's asking, meeting your psychological need, your essential need, which is for the body to become a vessel of Naam? Does this performance that you do, does it become listening and the expression alai of that sadara? So tera sadara suni jai pai. It means that your call is heard only je ko bahe alai. So sabad is not simply a word, it is the current of truth that runs through everything. So Babaji is not saying become a better yogi or a better ascetic. He's saying, hear the sadhana, listen, and you will find. Bahe alai, bahe is to settle. Alai is not ordinary speech. It is embodiment of the resonance of this sabad. So your beloved sabad is heard when one settles within. He's telling each one of these to settle. And then the emphasis is further laid, jaisa bijay so lune. This is realism. Every life is a sowing. Every action plants something. And what we are doing in all of this activity is reaping sowing the ego. And so you reap the ego. We are sowing ritual pride. But he reminds us that if you listen, if you're able to listen to sabad, if the sadhana is heard, then you are going to travel with the nisan. Nisan is also a synonym of hukam. So essentially Guruji is saying that if you settle down, if the mind settles and does not be carried away by its own inner chatter, which is what the ego does, then you will be sealed by the sabad, the sadhana, and then you will embody it as hukam. You will carry hukam with you. That is the inner seal. This is the warrant of hukam. Naam as the true passport. And this is also the same theme in the previous sabads, where the panda has to be filled with naam, with bhau, love, reverent absorption. And then again, he stresses, you are reckoned according to what you have done, egoically. तैसो जैसा कांडिए जैसे कार कमाए. But जो दम चित्त न आवे सो दम बिरथा जाए. If you don't live in her consciousness, you're wasting every breath. So Nanak kam na ave jit tan nahi sacha. Now, it's the same message that we have seen in the previous. It's saying a body that is bereft of wisdom is of no use. So all of this activity that Guruji shows us, he's saying they lack the center, they lack the sadhana. And then he says, here's the consequence. You are reaping what you are sowing. You're essentially you're sowing your ego with everything you do. So become a listener. Hear the sadhana, settle the mind, and carry hukam with you with every breath. Then there will be no reckoning. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.